print disability, which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello, this is Janice Marie Hunt, and for the next hour, I will be reading from the March 5th, 2026 issue of the East Aurora Advertiser on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Village schedules work session on comprehensive plan priorities. Written commitment period now open. The Village Board has scheduled a work session with public comment for 6 p.m. Monday, March 30th, to discuss the Village's comprehensive plan. The Planning Commission recently came to the Board for some guidance regarding how the Village should weigh land use with respect to manufacturing and senior housing. This discussion was prompted by a developer who is seeking to build a multi-unit senior housing complex on Quaker Road in a lot that is currently zoned for general manufacturing. The parcel would have to be rezoned to general residential for the project to succeed. The comprehensive plan is now 20-some years old. Planning Commission member Dale Moore said, "The priorities expressed 20 years ago versus the priorities we might have today, I think merit some reflection." Moore said that he believed only parts of the comprehensive plan needed to be revisited, not the entire plan. Not a lot of industrial zone spaces that opens, but there also hasn't been anything done with it by the private owners, Village Mayor Peter Mercurio said. Mercurio suggested holding a work session with public comment. The board unanimously scheduled the meeting for 6 p.m. Monday, March 30th at the Aurora Municipal Center on Oakwood Avenue. Written complaints will also be accepted by emailing the Village Board at village.board@eastaurora.ny.us or contacting Village Clerk Maureen Jurekas. Anyone wishing to submit a written comment is encouraged to do so by noon Friday, March 27th, to allow time for board members to review them prior to the meeting. Moore said that he would report the board's intentions to the Planning Commission at the March 3rd meeting. The Historic Preservation Committee Chair Mary Ann Colopy spoke later in the meeting about comprehensive plan priorities she would like to see the village consider. Historic preservation has now become a large part of our concern in the village. We need to be brought to the table. The village has yet to codify a set of design guidelines for commercial buildings that were established a few years ago. You can't just have suggestions for what we want our village to look like. We need to have some teeth to it. Colopy said that she would also like to see the board establish an architectural review board or allow it to become a part of the Historic Preservation Commission's work, as she has seen in other municipalities. The village board will meet again at 7 p.m. Monday, March 16th at the Aurora Municipal Center on Oakwood Avenue. Meet the Candidates Forum. The League of Women Voters for Buffalo Niagara will host a free candidate forum for candidates running for Village of East Aurora Mayor and 3 Village of East Aurora trustees. Candidates certified to participate are invited to attend. There must be at least 2 candidates participating for the same office for the forum to be held. The forum is free and open to the public. The forum will take place at 7 p.m. Wednesday, March 11th at the Aurora Senior Center, 101 King Street. The League of Women Voters Buffalo Niagara is a nonpartisan grassroots political organization committed to fostering informed and active participation in our democratic process. The organization is dedicated to educating and advocating for issues that impact the community while working to protect and increase voters and voting rights. Town of Elma, work approved at Old Highway Garage. Progress is being made toward the rehabilitation of the Old Town of Elma Highway Garage at 2170 Bowen Road. The Elma Town Board unanimously approved 4 bids for contractors to perform work at the site at the February 25th meeting. The board approved a contract with JR's Electric for $7,360 to move the electric in the old highway garage in preparation for the demolition of part of the building. The board approved a contract with United Precision Construction Services for $7,000 for demolition. The demolition will include the 2 garage bays that run perpendicular to Bowen Road, as well as the 2 garage bays on the south side of the property closest to the salt barn. A second contract was approved with United Precision Construction Services for the removal of asbestos shingles in the amount of $5,500. A contract with Action Environment Services was approved for $350 for asbestos monitoring. In other news, the board approved an agreement with Skylighters Fireworks in the amount of $15,300 for the annual fireworks show on July 4th at the Iroquois Central School District on Girdle Road. The board unanimously approved a water rate increase of 9%. This will increase the phase water rate for town residents to $38.71 per unit. It's the Erie County Water Authority that has pushed on these rate increases, Councilmember Darrell Nolan said. We're just modeling that increase. The county's rate increase became effective February 1st. A bid for $29,500 for electrical work from Del Mar Electric was accepted for a pump at Transit Road. A portion of this project will be paid for with an Erie County grant that the town received. Code Enforcement Officer Joseph Collner gave the January Building Department report. For the month of January 11th, permits were issued, over $2,600 in fees were collected, and the estimated value of construction was over $243,000. 34 businesses used permits were rescinded. Collins said that another business now occupies each of the 34 listed locations. Erie County Sheriff's Officer Matt Malikan gave the January service calls report. There were 379 calls for service in the town of Elma during the month. Those included 21 traffic stops, 43 accidents, 3 of which had injuries, 1 burglary report that Malikan clarified as more of a domestic incident, 1 reported case of fraud, and 3 arrests made. A public hearing was set for Wednesday, March 18th for the creation of Drainage District 213 at 1200 and 1220 Rice Road. The Elma Town Board will meet for a work session at 6 p.m. Wednesday, March 11th at the Elma Town Hall on Bowen Road. A regular meeting will take place at 7 p.m. Wednesday, March 18th. Prior to the meeting, a work session will take place at 6:30 p.m. and feature an update from the town's grant writer on the project she is currently working on. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the East Aurora Advertiser on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Iroquois Central begins discussing budget process. Business Manager John Wolski provided an update on the school district's budget status during the school board meeting on Wednesday, February 4th, emphasizing that the process is still in early stages and that much information is pending as the state budget develops. Key points from the report include: the district continues to review reserves and state aid, with reserves such as capital reserve, unemployment, and employee benefits available to offset budget needs when necessary. The capital reserve will be used for a voter-approved capital project. Governor Kathy Hochul's executive budget proposal includes a 1% increase in foundation aid for most districts, including this one. While this is positive, it falls short of a current inflation rates at 2.63%, indicating the district remains underfunded relating to rising costs. Wolski said the tax levy increase is constrained by a state tax cap formula, currently allowing about a 2% increase, which does not fully keep pace with inflation. This limitation complicates balancing rising expenses with revenue. The district faces rising utility costs, especially electricity, which have increased in recent months. Despite this, the district aims to retain key programs and services such as special education supports, athletes, after-school assistance, school resource officers, and staff development. The district applies for all relevant state and federal grants internally, but has limited access to additional grant funding due to its relative wealth status. Past attempts to hire external grant writing services yielded limited results, and there is no dedicated grant writer on staff. The district will continue to seek grant opportunities creatively. Negotiations for the new teacher contract are ongoing and will impact the budget depending on settlement terms. Wolski said the district must balance competitive compensation with fiscal responsibility. A separate proposition for diesel bus purchases will be presented to voters during the budget vote in May, with a focus on replacing aging vehicles, including adding wheelchair accessible buses. The district continues to study electric bus feasibility with state support, but is not purchasing electric buses this year. Wolski highlighted the difficulty of balancing educational priorities with financial constraints, urging community awareness and support. The district will continue to monitor developments closely and involve stakeholders if difficult decisions are required. In other news, Superintendent Doug Schofield told the board that E2CCB is planning a capital project estimated at $50 to $60 million. This project needs approval from the individual school districts in the ETCCB region to pass. The board would like a presentation in the future to learn more before voting on it. The next meeting is scheduled for 7 p.m. Wednesday, March 11th in STEM Room 96 at the middle school on Girdle Road in Elma. Heart of Music permit tabled. Concerns voiced over hours and street closures. The village board unanimously moved to table an application for a temporary use permit for Heart of Music Festival until the next meeting, scheduled for Monday, March 16th. Board members cited concerns regarding the hours of the event and road closures and asked for additional clarification before making any decisions on the event. The current application for Saturday, June 13th, has music starting at participating venues at 3 p.m. and going until 10 p.m. The participating venues will then have an hour after music is finished to close. The application states the Classic Rink on Riley Street will have music until 11 p.m. and close at midnight. Last year, music began at 1 p.m. and went until 9 p.m. at all participating venues, including the rink. All locations were slated for closure at 10 p.m. Event organizer Chris Welch said that last year, with all the venues being let out at the same time, there were congestion problems, and he believed that pushing a number of festival goers to one central location would help alleviate traffic and safety concerns. I just feel this is pushing in the wrong direction in terms of lateness, Trustee Molly Flynn said. I think the staggering is a good idea, but we're going to midnight now. Welch said that he believed this was the ideal time that would benefit both the festival and the village. Trustee Grace Vigor said that if it were her decision, she would keep the hours the same as last year, but allow for the rink to have music an extra hour and close an hour after that. Riley Street Station owner Anthony Amabal stated that he was in favor of the later hours as he believed earlier closing times negatively affected his sale figures during the event. The music festival will be capped at 8,000 tickets. Last year the limit was 7,000, but only 5,000 tickets were sold as a result of delays in the village's approval of the application. Welch said this led to delays in marketing the event. Prior to the board's discussion and vote, J.D. Purno, owner of Elm Street Bakery, voiced his concerns about shutting down various streets, including Elm Street, during the event. DiPerno said that while he supports the event and the revenue it brings in for area businesses, he believes it does not help all village businesses and that the closure of streets like Elm Street can hurt non-participating businesses. Originally, Elm Street was open, but we started closing it because it became a safety issue, Police Chief Patrick Welch said. We deemed that it was more safe to have it closed than risk the potential pedestrian struck situation. DiPerno said he recognized and understood the safety concerns associated with the event, but asked the board to think about the other entities that are operating in the village during the event. Does this scope have to be as big as it is? DiPerno said. Unfortunately, I don't have a great answer for you as to how we leave it open so that the businesses there can succeed that day, Chief Welch said. I have no problem sitting down with the folks that are planning this and the other department heads to discuss just what you're asking for. Presently, the application states that roads would be closed at 1 p.m. Chris Welch asked if the road closure could take place later in the day. Chief Welch stated that he would discuss it with other department heads. Trustee Kristen Cameron also said that she was concerned about the safety aspect and did not want to make a decision until she had more answers. The board voted to table the entire application until their next meeting. Later in the meeting, after the vote, Trustee Jeffrey Raby stated that he would also like to see the hours left the same as the previous year, with an hour extension for the rink. It's a better day event, and pushing it to midnight, I think, straps our resources, both police and fire, Raby said. I think that's unfair, especially to the volunteers. The village board will meet again at 7 p.m. Monday, March 16th at the Aurora Municipal Center on Oakwood Avenue. Legislatures oppose driver fee to fund public transport. Erie County Republican legislatures introduced a resolution opposing a $25 annual vehicle registration fee to help fund upstate public transit. The proposed fee was introduced in Albany by New York Public Transit Association President Miguel Villegas as a mechanism to address funding shortfalls upstate. County Executive Mark Poloncarz, Commissioner of Public Works, supports the fee. Erie County is the only county in New York State to share sales tax revenue with public transit. That revenue for the Niagara Frontier Transportation Authority is expected to reach nearly $28 million in 2026. But upstate public transit is underfunded at the state level, which has created structural inequities. The resolution urges state representatives to reject the proposed fee, citing Erie County's existing contributions and concerns about fairness to local drivers. Events at the Aurora Public Library. The following events and classes will take place at the Aurora Town Public Library located at 550 Main Street in East Aurora. Space is limited and registration can occur by calling the library at 716-652-4440, by visiting bit.ly/ATPL programs, or signing up in person. Tech help. Adults who are interested in learning more about the tools their devices have to make it easier to see, hear, and work with them can register for a one-on-one technology consultation with an accessibility expert through the library to review helpful tools available on smartphones, tablets, Kindles, and laptops. Appointments are available on an ongoing basis. Tech trainer. On Monday, April 13th, a hands-on computer training with a free 45-minute session designed to assist with software support or internet training will take place. Appointment times are available for 1, 2, and 3 p.m. This free program is designed for adults over 19 years old. Young Adult Book Club. Book Club for young adults will take place at 6 p.m. Thursday, April 16th. Participants will discuss novels that explore science fiction as well as play games, have snacks, and create a small craft. This program is sponsored by the Friends of the Library. Library leaders. Teenagers 13 to 18 years old are invited to begin planning at 6 p.m. Monday, April 13th for the next Library Leaders program that is scheduled for May. At this meeting, participants will brainstorm ideas, talk about volunteering opportunities at the library, eat snacks, and find new ways to get involved in the community. This program is sponsored by the Friends of the Library. Advanced Care Planning. This class, scheduled for 6 p.m. Thursday, April 9th, will offer guidance on how to have conversations with your loved ones and care providers about your health care preferences. Registration is encouraged for this free program offered by Hospice and Palliative Care Buffalo. Book Bedazzled Night. Students 11 to 18 years old are invited at 6 p.m. Thursday, April 30th to bedazzle the covers of some favorite books at the Aurora Town Public Library. Bring a book to decorate or buy one from the annual book sale for $1. Butter Lamb Workshop. There are 2 opportunities on Tuesday, March 31st, to create a butter lamb at the library. A class for adults will be held at 6 p.m. and a class for children 8 years old and over with an adult will take place at 4:30 p.m. Participants can bring the butter creation home for the Easter table. St. Patrick's Day. Children 5 years old and younger are invited with a caregiver for week folk story time at 6:15 p.m. Tuesday, March 17th. Enjoy a magical mix of stories, music, and shamrock shenanigans. County legislation supports energy choice. 2 resolutions have been introduced supporting state legislation that will allow Erie County and other local governments to opt out of forced electrification mandates and protect residents' ability to choose their energy source. The first resolution supports A9189, known as the Upstate Energy Choice Act. This legislation would allow communities outside of New York City to opt out of the statewide ban on natural gas and other fossil fuel equipment in new construction. In short, it protects the ability to install gas equipment in new builds rather than forcing all electric construction in areas that do not have the infrastructure to support it. The second resolution supports A8996, which would authorize local governments to opt out of the universal electrification mandates and benchmarks established under the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act. These mandates push an all-electric transition that our current grid is not equipped to handle. This is common sense legislation that Erie County should support, said Legislator Lindsay Lorengo. We do not have the grid capacity to convert our homes, vehicles, and businesses to all electric. I totally agree. Pretending otherwise is irresponsible and expensive. The cost of these mandates doesn't disappear. It gets passed directly to ratepayers. Families are already opening astronomical utility bills. Forcing policies that drive those costs even higher makes no sense. Lorengo emphasized that Western New York relies heavily on natural gas for heating, particularly during severe winter weather. Much of the region's housing stock was built decades ago and was not designed for full electrification. Eliminating practical energy options without adequate infrastructure in place raises both affordability and the public safety concerns. The resolutions are co-sponsored by legislators Mills, Todaro, and Green. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the East Aurora Advertiser on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Western New York Federation of Women's Clubs offers scholarship. The Western New York Federation of Women's Club is offering a $1,000 scholastic award to a woman over the age of 25 who would be enrolled in either a 2 or 4-year accredited college or university for the fall 2026 semester. Graduate students may also apply. The applicant must be a U.S. citizen and a resident of New York State. The deadline for application submission is April 1st. Applications may be obtained by calling 716-652-4067. Applications are also available at the Aurora Town Public Library, 550 Main Street, East Aurora. Williamsville trustee running for county clerk. Steve Mayer, an elected village trustee in Williamsville and small business owner, announced his candidacy for Erie County Clerk in a video to supporters on social media. In his announcement, Mayer pledged to restore integrity to an office that has been marred in years of criminal and ethical misconduct. For years, the Erie County Clerk's office has been defined by scandal, Mayer said. The office has been the subject of multiple investigations, and the clerk's own deputy is currently serving a state prison sentence for stealing from taxpayers. The bar for basic integrity must be higher than this. This isn't about partisanship, it's about basic accountability. Mayer currently serves as an elected trustee in the village of Williamsville, where he works to improve local life and strengthen government accountability. Professionally, he leads a consulting practice focused on modernizing organizations. Early in his career, he served as legislature director in the New York State Assembly and as a contract negotiator for the Civil Service Employees Association, representing public employees across Western New York. If elected, Mayer says his priorities will include restoring credibility to the office, modernizing outdated systems, and expanding access to core services. Mayer recently launched his campaign and has since been endorsed by the Democratic and Working Families parties. Community Choral Celebration for July 3rd. The country's semi-quintessential this summer, all are invited to participate in the Harmony 250, a patriotic choral presentation to the community. Scheduled between the parade and the fireworks, this concert will take place on the outdoor steps of the Roy Croft Pavilion in Hamlin Park. The event will be led by Rachel Francis, music director of the East Aurora Christian Church. When I was in seventh grade, a school speaker told us that no democracy had yet lasted more than 200 years, Francis said. But here we are at 250. I'm hoping the community will come together to celebrate our nation's longevity. Francis added, the health benefits of singing in a choir are undeniable. Psychological, and mindfulness, plus it is just fun. The first rehearsal will be held at 7 p.m. Tuesday, March 24th at the East Aurora Christian Church on Main Street. Sneaker collection to support Guiding Eyes for the Blind. Donations to the Got Sneaker fundraiser is an opportunity to make a difference for the blind and visually impaired by supporting Guiding Eyes for the Blind. Guiding Eyes for the Blind is a nonprofit organization dedicated to breeding, raising, and training future guide dogs. These trained dogs are provided to blind handlers at no cost. The cost to train each dog is $55,000. Used worn sneakers are recycled, keeping them out of the landfills while providing those in need with refurbished footwear. Guiding Eyes Eric Region volunteers collect, pack, and ship them to Got Sneakers, and Guiding Eyes receives a dollar amount for each pair depending on their condition. Blue collection bins are located throughout the village at Gill Eyewear on Douglas Lane, Bank of Holland on Quaker Road, and the Boys and Girls Club of East Aurora on Payne Street. In addition, Cat's Meow Consignment in Elma and the Boys and Girls Club of Elma, Marilla, and Waters are Girdle Road will have collection bins. Unified Club hosting talent show. The East Aurora High School Unified Club is hosting a Unified Talent Show. This special evening will be a kickoff to Inclusion Week that takes place the week of March 16th to the 20th. During this week, we spread awareness about different developmental disabilities for March's Developmental Disability Awareness Month. This year, we chose this information and fun kickoff event to not only help raise awareness, but also to help raise money for the Parkdale Inclusive Playground. The talent show will be a celebration of the unique gifts, creativity, humor, and talents of our Students Unified Club is dedicated to promoting a sense of belonging and unity. The club also works year-round to bring together students with and without disabilities to build meaningful friendships. The talent show is an opportunity to showcase how these connections allow every student to be seen and valued. The East Aurora Village Board will meet at 7 p.m. Monday, March 16th at 575 Oakwood Avenue. Visit www.eastauroranewny.us on the day of the meeting to see the agenda. The Alden Village Board will meet at 6:30 p.m. Monday, March 16th at the Village Hall located at 13336 Broadway. The Aurora Town Board will meet for a regular board meeting at 6:30 p.m. Monday, March 9th at 575 Oakwood Avenue. Visit www.townofaurora.com on the day of the meeting to learn more. The Alden Town Board will meet next at 6 p.m. Tuesday, March 17th at the Alden Town Hall located at 3311 Windy Road. The Marilla Town Board will meet at 7 p.m. Thursday, March 12th in the Marilla Town Hall on 2 Rod Road. The Elma Town Board will meet at 6 p.m. March 11th for a work session and 7 p.m. March 18th for a regular meeting at the Town Hall on Bowen Road. The next Wells Town Board meeting is scheduled for 7 p.m. Tuesday, March 10th in the Wells Town Hall located at 12345 Big Tree Road. The Holland Town Board will meet at 7 p.m. Wednesday, April 1st in the Holland Town Hall on Pearl Street. The Alden School Board will meet at 6:30 p.m. Thursday, March 5th for a meeting in the library of the high school on Park Street. The East Aurora School Board will meet at 7 p.m. Wednesday, March 18th for a board meeting on the second floor of the middle school on Main Street. The Iroquois School Board will meet at 7 p.m. Wednesday, March 11th for a meeting with STEM Room number 96 at the middle school on Girdle Road in Elma. The Holland School Board will meet at 6 p.m. Monday, March 23rd in the high school on Canada Street. What small businesses need to know after the recent Supreme Court's tariff ruling. Small business owners plan for a lot of things: staffing changes, supply chain delays, Western New York weather, etc. What they do not generally anticipate is the possibility that a federal policy affecting their costs could later be determined to be unlawful. Recently, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down the Trump administration's tariffs that were imposed under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, IEEPA. In short, the court determined that those tariffs were not legally authorized under the statute. For for hundreds of thousands of small businesses across the country, including many in our immediate area, that decision is significant. Since those tariffs were initiated in early 2025, the federal government has collected approximately $130 billion under IEEPA in its filing with the court. According to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the Department of Justice stated that if the tariffs were found to be illegal, the government would refund them. Now that the court has ruled commitment matters. What does this mean for small businesses? It potentially opens the door for refunds. Wow. The normal course of action is that people should get refunds for the tariffs that they paid. The federal government collected these taxes illegally. They now must refund them to people, explained Nell Bradley, U.S. Chamber of Commerce Chief Policy Officer, during a recent briefing to a Chambers Access the United States. But this is important. There's currently no official process in place for businesses to file a claim for reimbursement. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce is urging the administration to make the refund process as straightforward and accessible as possible. And that's critical. Small businesses don't have in-house trade attorneys or compliance teams. They need a clear, transparent system. That's what they need. We saw that the administration was raising some questions about how refunds would work, about how long it would take, and whether there would be litigation, as one of the things we're really encouraging is for the administration to make this a simple process for small businesses. Hundreds of thousands of small businesses paid these tariffs last year. The tariffs were illegal according to the Supreme Court, and so people should get a refund. And we should make that process as simple as possible, Bradley said. And as you might expect, figuring out whether your business qualifies and how much you may have paid won't necessarily be simple. Many of these tariffs were often embedded in import costs, emphasis in invoices, and supply contracts untangling that will require clarity from the federal government. There's also an unfortunate reality we need to acknowledge. Scams have already begun to surface because there is no official refund process yet. No one can legitimately file a claim on your behalf at this time. If you are contacted by someone offering to secure your tariff fund for a fee, that is a red flag. Do not pay anyone to reclaim funds when there is no formal mechanism in place. It's also important to note that tariffs themselves have not disappeared. The long story short is that tariffs haven't gone away. They've simply shifted the legal authority for those tariffs, according to Bradley. While the Supreme Court struck down the tariffs imposed under IEEPA, other tariffs remain in effect until different legal authorities. So this decision does not mean the end of tariffs altogether. It means a specific set of tariffs was found unlawful. As business leaders, what should you do right now? Stay informed. Review your records so you understand whether you paid IEEPA-based tariffs. Be cautious about third-party offers. Watch for official guidance from federal agencies. For many businesses, margins are tight and cash flow matters. If refunds are issued, they could represent meaningful dollars coming back into our local economy. Dollars that can be reinvested in employees, inventory expansion, or simply stability. Our role has always been to advocate for a fair and predictable business climate. At the chamber level, we'll continue to monitor developments and share updates as soon as there is clarity. In the meantime, though, stay cautious, stay patient, and don't let anyone rush you into a solution that doesn't yet exist. State legislation designed to make home ownership more affordable. Senator Patrick M. Gallivan and members of the Senate Minority Conference have unveiled a comprehensive package of housing legislation designed to help New Yorkers buy and build homes that are more affordable. The announcement comes as a new statewide Mars poll finds 61% of urban residents, 60% of suburban residents, and 53% of rural residents say that housing affordability is the top issue impacting their local community. The package includes affordability, incentives for first-time home buyers, and lowers the construction costs by renaming regulatory burdens such as streamlining the environmental review process to build homes. The package aims to increase housing supply by establishing a task force composed of local government officials, state agencies, and other stakeholders to develop best practices for local governments to incentivize housing development. Homeownership affordability. S.850, co-sponsored by Gallivan, the bill provides a first-time homebuyer tax credit for local property taxes. S.852, co-sponsored by Gallivan, the legislation gives homebuyers who rehabilitate properties an exemption from property tax reassessment. S.8489 freezes real property taxes for 3 years to provide relief to New York homeowners. New York has some of the highest property taxes in the nation. I believe that to be true. Lower construction costs. S.1167, co-sponsored by Gallivan, the bill would repeal the All-Electric Building Act. The all-electric mandate will increase the cost of the average single-family home by about $20,000. S.8621 allowed building developers to comply with the less costly and less burdensome 2020 energy codes in lieu of the 2025 energy code. This would result in lowering the cost of an average single-family home by approximately $7,400. Increase housing supply. S.3545 streamlines the environmental review to build more homes. S.529 establishes the Local Initiatives Task Force on Housing to collaborate with local government officials, state agencies, and stakeholders to develop best practices for local governments to incentivize housing development. S.576 create tax incentives for manufactured housing developers to build affordable homes in rural areas. Coast Professional Inc. ranks sixth in 2026 Training MVP Awards. Coast Professional Incorporated is proud to announce that it has earned 6th place in the 2026 Training MVP Awards, its highest ranking to date. This achievement continues the company's 7-year streak of recognition. Last year, Coast Professional placed 15th. Our training team is truly exceptional and plays a pivotal role in elevating our organization to new heights. Lisa Reese, who is the Senior Vice President of Compliance, their passion for their work is contagious and they take immense pride in watching our company grow. Special recognition is also given to our technical writing team for their professionalism and skill in crafting a submission that clearly communicated our training innovations and strengthened their partnership with the training team. We owe our remarkable success to their combined efforts. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to every individual at the company for making this possible. Coast Professional Inc. is a BPO provider offering contact center and collection services tailored to meet industry specific needs. The company specializes in omnichannel support serving commercial, private, and government clients nationwide, celebrating 50 years of connecting in 2026. Coast Professional Inc. marks 5 decades of growth as a privately owned organization. It is a 9-time honoree on the 5,000 list for America's fastest growing private companies as recognized by Incorporated magazine and has been awarded Best Places to Work in Collections by InsideArm.com and Best Companies Group 6 times is the last decade. More information can be found at www.coastprofessional.com. Learn how to prepare for a disaster. Dear Editor, the New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services is offering Citizen Preparedness Corps training at the Town of Aurora Senior Center on March 30th. The training provides information for residents on how to prepare for emergencies. Further information and the registration form can be found at prepare.ny.gov for those who cannot make it on that date. Hopefully, neighboring towns will consider hosting this training in the future. Nothing left to fear here, according to Gure. Dear Editor, so much gratitude is owed to Judith Gure for informing us that only 14% of immigrants are violent. We'll sleep better knowing. Our only fear now is from Trump's guest hole grabbing our children while waiting for a bus or workers from retail parking lots. Also to avoid being shot or getting beat up when we should all be protesting. Light after dark, winter brings blessings. Dear Editor, I just wanted to say that as we ready for spring and Easter, that Jesus is the light of the world, and whoever follows him will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. It's what Easter is all about. God bless everyone. Langworthy applauded Trump's lies. Dear Editor, at the State of the Union address, Republican zombies stood and applauded every ridiculous lie Donald Trump told, and that most certainly included our very own Nick Langworthy. He applauded when Trump said foreign countries were paying the tariffs and that tariff income would replace income taxes. He applauded when Trump said gas prices were under $2 a gallon and that the economy was just great. He applauded when Trump bragged about deporting Somalians. He stood and applauded every single lie. Langworthy hasn't objected to Trump starting a war with Iran. He hasn't demanded the full Epstein files be released. He doesn't think ICE needs to take off the mask and obey the law. He didn't care that ICE has killed U.S. citizens and put children in detention camps. He was just fine with a bill that would disenfranchise millions of voters. nor has he objected to any of Trump's plans to subvert the election in November. It is time to let Nick Langworthy know we object to him and his gutlessness. Call or email his office and demand he stand up for us, not Trump lies. Art Society and Friends of the Library collaborate for a fundraiser. The East Aurora Art Society has sponsored the purchase of watering cans for a fundraiser in collaboration with the Friends of the Aurora Town Public Library. Each watering can will be hand-painted and embellished by a talented local artist. From March 9th through May 8th, the watering cans will be displayed at the Aurora Town Public Library, located on 550 Main Street. The community is invited to purchase votes to judge and earn a chance to win their favorite watering can. One vote is $1, or 6 votes are $5. All proceeds will benefit the library. Winners will be drawn at random at noon, May 8th. Voters will be tallied to determine which watering can will win first, second, or third place. For more information, contact the library at 716-652-4440. You have been listening to a reading of articles and features from the March 5th, 2026 issue of the East Aurora Advertiser. We read from the East Aurora Advertiser every Saturday at 10 a.m. Your reader has been Janice Marie Hunt. Thank you for listening.
Coming up next on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, we have a reading of the Niagara Gazette. At noon, we have the Dunkirk Observer. And at 1 o'clock, we have some of our Northtown Bees, including Amherst, Clarence, Cheektowaga, Lancaster, and Depew. Stay with us for these readings and more throughout the day. You're listening to the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. As of this year, our agency has broadcast more than 300,000 hours of radio readings. Volunteer radio readers read newspapers, magazines, and books to area people who are blind or have a print disability, who are provided reading radios. Radio Reading's broadcast signal is provided at no charge by WNED. Radio Reading broadcasts from studios at 1199 Harlem Road in suburban Buffalo. Please let others know about Radio Reading. It's your service. For more information on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, call 716-821-5555. following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability,